like looking at us and turning up. It was like some scrappy challenge thing turning up. Everyone just laughing at you. Always like that car. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just because it's got KC lights across the front of it. I don't really know. They didn't say I had to behave myself. They just said that Jake isn't happy most of the time because we do break a lot of things and he's the main one that fixes everything.
Just say your name first of all, and check the sound.
Ryan Beresford.
And where are you from?
Chesterfield.
Okay, right.
Welding, fabricating. Basically, just all the rubbish that nobody else wants to do. Rotten sills, stuff like that. So, whatever. Just a bit of welding, yeah. Yeah, messing around with having off-roaders, and then obviously you post a photo up of what you've done, and then one mate wants that same thing doing, and then next mate and next mate and next mate. So kind of just went from there. And obviously we've always had off-roaders doing pay and play events. Never done winch challenging events or anything like that. Just pay and plays, do what you want, no rules, have a bit of fun. And then it just went from there. Just like quickly as well. Just seemed to happen quickly, but just for shits and giggles. That's all it were, really. I mean, even like turning up to the first race, everyone was just like looking at us and turning up. It was like some scrappy challenge thing turning up. Everyone was just laughing at you. Like, I remember we got laughed at for the ramps we pulled out on this trailer to load the Discovery off the back. Everyone was just laughing at us, and it was just like, by the end of the race, I think it was John Stones came up to us and says, we've worked out there's probably £3 million worth of race cars and trucks and stuff on this campsite, and everybody's talking about you in that Discovery. It was never the intention, it just happened. We literally just went there as, 10 mates that had all chucked in to build this Discovery, and it just went crazy. It just carried on going, which surprised everyone. We never thought it was going to do that. We thought we were going to do the whole one lap and it was going to stop running, but it just carried on going. 2 years? 3 years, I think it was. And then we just had to get rid of it. Everything was bent on it. You couldn't get the gearbox out, you couldn't get the engine out of it, or the chassis was bent up. Like if you look down in the footwells, you could see the shape of the chassis in the footwells, because all the body had come that far down onto the chassis, because it obviously bent body mounts down and everything. So, but that's it. It just started off as cheap and cheerful, and it worked for however long it was. Just over 3 years, I think it was. We've talked about it quite a lot, and I would. It's just the money side of it. Well, obviously the racing side of it, the paying for the racing's not that far off the same. But to upgrade your car to still be quick. I mean, I want to do the rock sections and stuff like that, like Walters and stuff. I'd love to do the rock sections, but we've got to have bigger tyres. Then we've got to have bigger axles and bigger diffs and all stuff like that. I ain't got that money to do that. So I'm happy in stock class. We have a good laugh with people that aren't far off the same spec as us, sort of thing as well. Rather than if we went upper class, we might be miles away from the spec from someone else. So we're not going to have much fun racing because we're not going to keep up with them. Whereas in the stock class, it's always just been fun because we've been able to keep up with everyone. Everyone's always been together, having a good laugh while we're racing at the same time, and that's what we've always been in it for anyway. I think at the start when we first did it, I paid $650 for the Range Rover. I'd already got the roll cage in it, which North Off-Road built many years ago apparently for Comp Safari. So I did well with that. Obviously having all the cage and everything, I was had to change the bits of the cages, gussets, stuff like that for Ultra 4 regs. I bet you no more than $2,000, I'd have said. You can still buy a Discovery or a Range Rover cheap now. I'd buy a rotten Range Rover if you can weld. You can weld foot panels, like foot plates up and bulkhead and all that cheap. And boot floors and stuff. And all you got to do is a cage, and I mean, yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do if you've not got the pipe bender and all that sort of thing, but it's not that expensive to do. That's your main thing, is a roll cage. And no words for that, I have no idea. Just keeps going. Don't know. I mean, Jake isn't happy most of the time because we do break a lot of things, and he's the main one that fixes everything. I mean, as soon as I get out of the car after a race, I'm straight on it with him, but most of the time it's me and Jake fixing everything. Obviously, if Scott's fixing his as well, if he's racing his, it just stays together. Like, I mean, Curtin, yeah, we had a roof come off, but that's when it was on the solid engine mounts and it just used to shake everything to pieces, all the screws come out of it. But it was, when I bought it got solid engine mounts on, so they just stayed as they were, and obviously they failed us, so we're back on standard engine mounts now. Just stays together. Few tech screws here and there, and cable ties, just keeps going. Our prep for racing's awful, and everybody knows that. Awful, and how we actually do as well as we do is very surprising. We've had a lot of shocks break, snap off, bend them, go through wheels when they've snapped off. Obviously bushes on the shocks have always just fell out. We've had a few gearbox issues, nothing much, and I lost drive once. And then we've had a lot of overheating issues. Just trying to, obviously since we put the bigger injectors in, stuff like that, it's just forever been getting hot. 300 TDI auto, just basically everything standard, inside wires and everything. I mean, we've never had the engine apart, so like the actual bottom side of the engine's probably done 200,000 miles for all we know. I ain't got a clue, but we obviously have done cylinder heads and stuff on, because that's a 300 TDI. They've all had a cylinder head, but yeah, like that side of it has been brilliant. That's why I always liked it as well, because it's so simple and it just kept going. We got that from the Discovery. The Discovery never had anything engine-wise, it was all standard. Well, we had a fuel pump on it, that was it, and it just kept going. So it was like, right, now we're building the Range Rover. It came with a 300 in it anyway, but we were just like, we've got to keep that engine because it's been bulletproof in the last one, so why can't it be in this one? In my eyes, like that with everything though. In your day-to-day car, I don't like anything with ECUs. That's just how I've been brought up, old school, like classic stuff where it's just two wires. Obviously this just runs with two wires. It's a fuel pump wire and a start motor wire, and away you go. In my eyes, that's a lot better than 40 wires going into an engine to an ECU. I think it works, and if something packs up, you know it's going to be that one thing rather than 40 things that it could be. So I just always find it's easier, and you can fix it aside at track easily, or you can go into your pits and nick it off the Discovery that towed your trailer there or something like that. So it's just always worked for us. That's just how we've always been. I suppose so, yeah, because a lot of people have talked to us about it and asked us, what do we need, what's the best way of getting into it, all that sort of thing. And then a few people have built the cars that have spoke to me about it. So if it's making people get into it by what I do, then yeah, I'm happy with that. And I'll answer any questions for anyone that wants to know how easy it is to get into it and stuff, because it is really easy. Obviously for certain people, obviously I do welding stuff every day, so I can fix stuff quite easily on my own stuff, whereas a lot of people can't do it themselves, so they've got to pay a company to do it or whatever. So that's what scares people, I think. But it's, yeah, for getting into it and everything, I think it's just brilliant. We've not really spoke about it, to be honest. We've got a lot of things going off with the garage, stuff like that, so we don't know what we're going to be able to do. Obviously we would like to do them all. Obviously that's a lot of money, and if we've not got the jobs in to make that money, then they're not going to happen. But we're just going to go with the flow as we always do. If we can race, brilliant. We'll get ready 3 days before and we'll set off. It's as simple as that. I've had quite a few people already ask me, what are you going to be racing, but we really don't know. Yeah. Hopefully I'm all. That's what I'm going to say now on here. Hopefully I'm all. Spoke to quite a few people about it and they say that it's brilliant. Obviously it's different, isn't it? It's different to what we're used to, so I guess that's why people are liking it as well. I mean, I just want to get out using cars as much as we want, and which is the same thing everyone says. You spend so much money on your car and it sits there. I mean, obviously we only do UK races, so it's only 3 races a year. In my eyes, it's not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money to have a car just sat there going out 3 times a year. Whereas I want to get out and I'd like to do some comp safaris as well, to be honest. Get out and use it as much as we can. But we'll just have to see. It's the dream, innit? How funny would that be? A Range Rover Classic going around on the 265 tyres, be a good lap. Yeah, it's the dream. I mean, I'd always love to go in person and just walk around and watch everything. We've never been able to because we've always been busy with work at the time or whatever, or same again, not had the funds. If we got the opportunity to race there, then yeah, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? I wouldn't even know what to say if that happened. Just see what happens. That's what we always do, just go with the flow of it. Just see what happens, really. Say we don't know what we are going to be racing anyway, but yeah, that puts it into it that if we win it, we can possibly go to Hammers and stuff. We're never in it to win it anyway. We're just in it for the laugh and the fun. And obviously it gets a lot of the mates and that together as well to come down and have the laugh and that as well. So just going to be seeing how it goes. Well, obviously when we first started in the Discovery, there was a lot of rock sections. Like at Curtin, there was three separate rock sections on one lap. And we were only on 205 tyres at the time. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people used to laugh at us, because like, oh, tiny tyres. And that's how we liked it, because that's how we first got into it, is that we were like, Jesus, this is rough. And then further along it's just got turned more into more tame races sort of thing. And I spoke to Chris and basically said, come on, start making them a bit rougher again. That's what we got into it for. That's what Ultra 4 is. You watch Ultra 4 in America and there's big rock sections, not just rock sections, there's big hill climbs and stuff like that. Challenging racing rather than just flat, bumpy tracks in my eyes. And at Walters, the Walters this year are brilliant. Obviously we had the riverbed bit that we was going up in stock class. That was brilliant, loved that, especially when it was raining on Sunday. I'd like to go up and do the JLR rocks and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, that'd be brilliant, but like I say, you've got to put a lot of money into it just to get the truck up there, sort of thing. I mean, I'd probably just put foot all the way to floor and try and get up there, like, but they didn't say I had to behave myself. They just said that they're filming the new Range Rover there. They want you to be some part of it, because obviously with you being the old Range Rover and then being in the new Range Rover. So it's like, yeah, whatever. We're still going there to race. It wasn't changing anything. We still did the 3 days prep and then got there, and then we did the filming side of things, which, yeah, it was good fun. A couple of delivery drivers come down and like, did we see that Range Rover? It was on Top Gear. Yeah, that was us, yeah. Didn't believe that we were driving it, but yeah. Well, I was driving it, Scott was the co-driver. Yeah, nothing really came of it, just a few people talked about it. I mean, we went to a pay and play event last weekend at Doncaster. As soon as I walked in the cabin there to sign on, he went, you right? You on Top Gear? I was like, yeah, the Range Rover, yeah. Because they'd seen the Range Rover there before, when I had the big tyres on it, took it there for a pay and play event. So they'd seen it before, so whether they just put two and two together, I don't know. Yeah, it's nothing really come of it, just a good laugh, wasn't it? Something different. Yeah. Well, Curtin years ago, 2018, whenever it was, there was loads. I mean, a lot of people just from round here that obviously I was friends with, or I did work for, they all came up. I bet there were 50 of us that used to go up and watch and stuff like that. Spectators make everything, don't they? Cheer you along, take photos of you, just to have a laugh with them, everything. It's definitely better spectators, everything is. We try to every time. We do. And at Curtin, we always end up with quite a lot of us, because it's an hour up the road for us. Anywhere else, we've always struggled because as mates don't want to drive 3 hours, 4 hours to somewhere to stand in rain and not really see much of us. Whereas at Curtin, because it's short course, you could see a lot. Whereas at like Walters and stuff, you don't get to see that much, do you? So yeah, the nearby races we can get a lot of people to come to, not just to support us, just to be there and support the racing and everything. So important to everyone, isn't it? Really. It's only this last year that we've really had sponsorship. Before that, it was just everything. It was our money went into everything. But this year we've had probably 3 or 4 people that have helped us out. A couple of £100 here and there, pays for fuel, pays for entry, sort of thing like that. Helped out massively. Meant we could do a bit more to the truck. Meant we could put a new winch on the front. We could put Fox shocks underneath it. Not only the cheap Fox shocks, but better than the things we had before. So it helped out a lot, and it is important because it's obviously gives you, well, I don't really know how to explain it, but you can do a lot more. I wasn't happy when stock class prices went up. Did last year, this year. Because yeah, we get a lot of racing for the money. I think when we first started with £300 for the race, which I always seemed were fair. And in my eyes, that's not a ridiculous amount, so it's going to bring more people in. And then quite a few people I've spoke to who wanted to get into it. Now the prices have gone up for stock class, but nothing's changed. We still get the same race, the same time, or whatever. It's put a lot of people off. And I think I've asked a couple of times why, and is there any chances of it coming back down? Because, we've even had times where we might not have been able to race because we can't afford it. Because it's your fuel, entry and everything on top. What's it now, 455 for stock class to race? And you look at it and you can go and do Rob's races at dirt, a lot cheaper. You can go and do comp safaris a lot cheaper. I know it's not the same racing, but still racing, still getting out in your car, into still getting seat time and stuff. So I think the prices need to come back down. Whether it will, I don't know. As long as the car's getting used, I'm happy, but I just don't want to be spending ridiculous amounts of money on entry when nothing's any different to what it were 5 years ago. There's a few, I'd have said. I don't really know, to be honest. I've always liked Mike Robertson's car. The yellow, I don't even know what it is. I think it's an off-road army frame, is it? Always like that car. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just because it's got KC lights across the front of it. I don't really know. Just always like that car. I know it's for sale at the moment. I wish. Yeah, there's loads out there. At the end of the day, I've raced a standard Discovery. I'm in a pretty much standard Range Rover. So anything above that, I'd be happy. I don't really know what you'd choose. I don't know.